we have a purpose. We're actually doing something, and when you pull something off, it feels it's a terrific thing. Melvin Jones in 1917 challenged the business communities to give back to their communities, and that's how the Melvin Jones, by the way, was 38 years old. He wasn't some old guy. Everybody has this connotation of the Lions as being everybody over 65. Well, no, he was 38, and that's where it all started. Yeah, because the businesses responded quite effectively. And you think about 1917, the First World War was still going on, so it was one way they could give back to their communities. And then I believe it was about 1925 was when Helen Keller challenged the Lions, and I will read that one. Her quote was, she challenged them to be the knights of the blind in the crusade against darkness. And they responded. And that's why the Lions are associated with guide dogs, Braille. We've done some of that work here in our community. Fred Greenslade. Fred Greenslade was our first president of the local chapter in 1971. And he was the main instigator of the Lions, and there was 35 people, all men, back in those days, because it was a men's club in the 70s. And there's only 2 people living on the island now that are still from 1971, and one everybody knows is Harry Lane. The other is Ricky Dodds, which really surprised me. And I approached Rick the other day about this because I was reading up on this, and it says Richard Dodds. And I said to Ricky, I said, "Is that really you?" He says, "Yeah, I was a lot younger then." He was the youngest. He was about 19 or 20, somewhere in there. Anyways, in 1971, that's when they started. I mean, I've only been involved in the Lions for probably about 10 years or so, and I got involved with it might be more than that, because when Curtis and Amy, my son and daughter-in-law, got married, I was relatively new to the island, and they wanted to get married on the island, and I heard about the Lions, that they rented tents and so on and so forth, and so they got married up on top of a friend of ours' place out by Mount Park, and all these fabulous chairs and tents and tables and so on. And I didn't have to do anything; they came and set it up. I think, and I'm feeling guilty now, and so I'm thinking the next morning when it's all over and done, I go up somewhere around 9:30 to tear it all down, and that's where I met Mike Bullis. He came down, and I came down, and here's this grin from ear to ear with Mike, and I said, "I'm here to help take it down." He says, "Don't worry about it; it's all done." And I was like, "Are you guys kidding?" And then this army of guys came with all the tents and so on and so forth. I didn't have to do a darn thing. And then I got the bill. I was like, "Are you kidding? That's it?" Yeah. The next week I joined the Lions. Yeah, they established a scholarship fund for Fred Greenslade, and that's been going on since the 70s, and we award that every year to somebody on Main Island, a student of Main Island, and the selection is not just marks. It's because in this community, most of us, we know the kids, so it's not just based on high marks, and typically, because we don't have that many graduating, it's we're looking at 3 or 4 kids to select from, and it's not all done by committee, and that's about 15. It's about 15. It was $1,500 for a 4-year scholarship, so that was $6,000 that the Lions were giving. We had to fiscally scale that back to now it's $1,500, but we'd really like to establish a long-term fund for that. That's one of the few things that the Lions do. We've always been on the periphery of the Charles Pyatt scholarship. There's always one of the things that Charles Pyatt he sponsored. He put the initial investment into the scholarship fund for the Charles Pyatt Scholarship Award, and on the condition that it was a member from the community the principal of the school and the chair of the Lions, of the current chair of the Lions, would be the selection committee for that particular one. But it's the administrator has moved off island now, and so it was asked that we take that under the guidance of the Lions. Charter night's when it's a full-on charter night. We didn't have it last year, and this year we're putting it on. We usually have it on the anniversary of the charter, which was in November. The very first meeting was November 1971. But of course, we can't have those big gatherings, and we have them in the only place big enough is the school gym, and it's the one event on this island where you're okay to come in a tux. In fact, it's encouraged. I don't have a tux, but I actually have a suit that I don't know if it fits anymore after. But it's a really, really nice event, and a wonderful meal, and there's 100 some odd folk get together, and the main event is the main island. That's when we do the Main Islander of the Year award. We're very proud of is acknowledging somebody every year. Richard D'Armand, way back when, Ron Willick, Cilla Brooks, goes on and on and on. Tosh, I think, was the first Main Islander of the Year. We take great pride in not telling the people. Yeah, for sure. And it's all like May in particular. It was we had to figure out a way to get May to the charter night because she typically didn't go to charter nights. So we had her daughter to buy the couple tickets and guilt her into coming to the to charter night, and the look on her face when she got the Main Island, it was priceless. Those are moments that are really, really special, you know. The phone book, the Main Island phone book, that's a freebie. Things like flipping hamburgers was a recent thing. We've been doing it for a couple of years now, and the baseball team asked us if we'd be interested in flipping hamburgers. And I didn't go down to Saturna to bring the team down every now and then. And I was always impressed with what they do at Saturna. And when they have a baseball game on Saturna, it's a community event. The whole community comes out because they got hamburgers, they got beer, and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, when I went to the first one here, nobody was there. It's just a bunch of young people playing baseball, which is good enough, but there was nobody there to cheer them on or whatever. Well, we started cooking hamburgers, and the $5 hamburger got out. The first night we did it, somebody came up and ordered 12 hamburgers and took them home. but the bleachers got filled, and then all of a sudden people started realizing we got a baseball team here, so we bought them T-shirts, and the Main Island Blazers and the Saturna, whatever the heck they call themselves down there, meet, and in every second Wednesday we're flipping burgers and they're playing ball, and we have a ball, and it's provided a catalyst for people to come down and watch our team play ball. Coming up this Christmas is the Santa Ship. And the Santa Ship is really cool. The Bellingham Club would come out of Bellingham with this big boat. And anybody who's been around here at Christmas knows about the Santa Ship. And it's this big, massive boat. But because of COVID, we can't do that. And Santa Claus is on this boat. They come into Miners Bay. And we haven't been able to do it last year and this year. So we're going to do it locally. We've got a boat lined up that we're going to do our own home-built Santa Ship. Probably my favorite event is the single seniors. Where we do a meal for the single seniors. And pre-COVID, it was done in the Ag Hall, and Mike Bullis has kept a list. Mike has been in it for 35 years too, but he's always had a list of all the single seniors that he knows, and we add to this list if we know more. But we invite the single seniors to a turkey dinner, typically about the third week of December at the Ag Hall. But COVID, we couldn't do it. But what we did, we cooked turkeys and hams and delivered them, and it was wonderful. The reward for us was the smiles that came with it. It was really well worth it. We need to get out there and explain that, you know, that it's not onerous from a time perspective, and it is there's a lot of satisfaction, but I think there's a perception that it's a tremendous amount of work. I'm pretty busy as a lion, as you guys know. I've got businesses and many other hats, but it's not that bad. I'm excited about it because I think the potential is there for, you know, if we can get together as groups again and you know, and have a meal and a glass of wine or whatever, and just come up with the ideas. It's amazing the energy when you get, you know, 30 people in a room.
I remember asking Fred Musset about the Lions and saying, you guys do so much. How do you have time for it? And he says, we have different groups, as you mentioned earlier. Yeah. And so even to let people know that you don't have to do all of it.
It's really refreshing when somebody comes up and that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
And they champion it. Mm-hmm. You know, and we're calling that the point person. Like we on the Santa ship, the point person is Jody Wiley. Mm-hmm. No, but just pick one thing. You know, one thing you want to champion. Yeah. You know. We got a couple interesting projects that we'd like to do, and again, we're looking for membership to come, because whenever you do a project, you need somebody to champion it. And one of my favorites that I really want to see done, and it's very tangible, we'd like to do like picture a bus stop, but at Miners Bay Dock. When for the kids, for people waiting for the water taxis, for the airplane, there's no place to stand out of the rain. So one of the things we envisioned that would be a great little Lions project would be to build this shelter just right at where the ramp goes down to get on the school boat, the water taxis, et cetera, et cetera. But just do a simple post and beam shelter. So that's one. Another one, which is in the formative stage, is the sign, the map as you come out of the ferry. Yeah, that was a Lions project years and years and years ago. It was Jeremy Borz's father that did that, and that's how old it is. So we've put it out there we're working with the Arts Council. They put out a request for proposal, which we will fund, for somebody to redo the map, and we'll redo the roof structure above and put in lighting and so on and so forth, and put something on the back of it that says something different than "Have you turned your water off?" You know? Which, sorry, Mary, I didn't mean to say a former Island of the Year. That was her thing, right? And so that's a very tangible project that I'm really looking forward to working with Deborah Strong and the Arts Council people on that one, and that's actually gone out for a proposal. Another one, which okay, you guys, this is kind of a first, because I do want to bring it up at the executive. I'd like to propose that we resurface the deck of Miners Bay dock structure, the wharf head, which is right now is a serious tripping hazard. But wouldn't it be nice if we could get together as a group of people to resurface that deck and then do a railing around it where we have benches, and much like the Sydney Pier, and turn a hazard right now into something that is attainable, very attainable to do this, and would really, really add to our downtown core. But it would be a wonderful place. And I sort of envision, pods by these benches showing the history of Miners Bay. You let your mind go with it. But these are projects we can do as a Lions Club. And that one actually has been run by CRD, and they kind of like the idea. So again, working with the Lions, it gives you some credibility. An individual to go do that would, it's tough, but as the Lions group. Another one that's really exciting is working with Lance and Laura down at the park to do an exercise trail. What they're proposing is exercise stations.
Which park?
Dinner Bay.
alongside the disc golf course.
Yeah, and it's a trail that would go all the way around the park, and you'd have stations with different exercise. You've probably seen there's one in Sydney by Raven. I can't remember the name of it, but there's where they have you might have a rowing machine, you might have a chin-up bar, and we're committed to we're looking at funding 2 of the stations for that. We're really excited about working with Lance and Laura on that one. Talk about Friends of the Lions. Those are 2 movers and shakers that it would be a lot of fun to work with. Friends of the Lions, we call them.
Oh, you've already got that.
Rudy, brother Rudy.
Oh,
He flips burgers.
Yeah.
Jeff Hansen. Jeff Hansen, he's always there.
I didn't know that.
Oh, right. The what's his name? Jim Deverell. Al Woods. When we do the barbecue, they would do the chicken, and we called them friends with Richard Brown. And when he was living here, and we have again without pre and post COVID, we have what we call steak night in May, and we invite Friends of the Lions to say thank you for helping out with the Lions.
One meeting a month that they may well enjoy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't want to go, they can be a friend of the Lions and just help it and enjoy the sense of
Service,
helping people out who are happy to be helped.
Being part of it.
Yeah, the joy of service.
We have to get the word out, and that's just it. How do we do it effectively? I think actually a lot of it's word of mouth.
Well, thank you very much, Brian.
Well, it's fun. I appreciate it. I'd appreciate this more than standing up and doing it. I don't mind doing a speech. No problem. But I think you can be a little bit more candid and open with a discussion like this. And help them out fiscally and morally, or not morally, but what do you call it? Oh, what would you call it?
Morally is interesting.
No, not morally.
Improve their morals.
Morale.
Morale.
Morale. That's what I'm looking for.